Prostitution, gender and politics. Is this prostitution? And then she added, to me it's interesting to see social phenomena is the actual plural of phenomena.
All right.
I realize it's bad taste and form to correct somebody's grammar and spelling in public, but
no, you're right.
That's why God made Virgos.
Yes.
God made Scorpios.
Continue. Focus.
Should women use their bodies to get what they want out of life? Considering women have been at a disadvantage because of their gender, I lean towards saying yes.
Make the patriarchy work for you.
Yes.
Women should do whatever they want with their bodies. And then you'll see what, and I responded to Laura, it comes close if it doesn't already cross the line. But whether or not one calls this prostitution only hides the larger question of whether prostitution is a problem. You know that prostitution was only legal in one state. What state, by the way? Nevada. For what?
Las Vegas.
It's not legal in Las Vegas, actually. It's legal in Reno, though.
But it's becoming legal across the country because it's considered a free First Amendment freedom of association right. By the way, you know,
hey, if you want to do it, do it. There are people who about to say you could get state regulation.
Well, you know what the new cleaned up term for whore or prostitute is? For prostitute.
Sex labor. Escort, yeah. Okay.
Well, all right.
Well,
now, first of all, by the way, the federal government is actually coming down very hard on child prostitution.
But that's a whole different topic. This is not it. This is not that.
500 girls.
Yeah.
Sold into prostitution in America per year.
But we're talking about consenting adults.
Yeah, these people are actively doing this.
You understand? That's a special issue, Sophie. But we're talking about consenting adults.
Yeah.
So in a way, what Laura was really asking, what I call this prostitution, is do I think it's wrong?
Right.
And since, by the way, prostitution, what's the cleaned up term for prostitute, by the way, in addition to escort?
Call girl.
Sex worker.
Yeah, sex worker.
And so, I mean, isn't sex worker just somebody who uses sex as a source of income?
Well, sex worker is more than just prostitution, though.
Yeah. Dominatrix.
I mean, yeah, the dominatrix.
Well, you can always get different flavors, just like you can at Baskin Robbins.
But they don't have sex with their clients.
Huh?
They don't have sex with their clients.
They do sexual things.
There's a whole, well, by the way, all right, we'll come back to my response in a minute, but if you had to classify this,
Sex dolls, but they can't actually have sex.
Yeah.
it's clearly there's a range of behaviors, isn't there?
Right.
Yeah.
All the way from whatever you call this to sexual arrangements up to and including sex, like dominatrix and so forth, play acting, phone sex.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely about that.
And then there's full prostitution. So I'll solicit your opinion on this, but this is what I sent back to her. Whether or not one calls this phenomenon only hides the larger question of whether prostitution is a problem. One can only articulate this question if one places it against the larger issue of what human virtue is. Remember our discussion of virtue last week?
Mm-hmm.
If virtue includes an idea of the sacredness of the person, a religious notion, or personal nobility, a Socratic, Platonic, or Aristotelian notion, if you want to see what I mean by that, look at the syllabus, my statement on honor. For the honor system, I try to provide two bases for personal honor. The religious notion that's in the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
and the Aristotelian notion, which consists of personal honor based upon self-nobility. In other words, how many of you think you can do something to yourself that destroys your human identity? Yeah. How many think you can do something to yourself that lowers your status as a human being?
Like doing it to ourselves or just having it be done?
That's really the same thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, one part of it that you don't really have control over.
Well, when you say doing it to yourself versus having it done to you, if it's a consensual, you understand there are relationships of rapists and thugs and murderers and brutalizers. I just read a book review of the first child serial murderer in America in the 1800s. And by the way, he was executed at the age of 14. He had killed like 4 children in a row. And then he got caught because first he started out just trapping them, beating them up, and torturing them. And then he actually killed 4 children, and then he himself was caught. So, but you understand, if you are in a consensual relationship and you have it done to yourself, you're still consenting to it.
No.
Well, yeah,
I'm gonna draw a line right there. That is not correct. Abusive relationships are not.
No, I'm not talking about like domestic abuse, where like,
Domestic abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, whatever.
no.
No, BDSM.
Huh?
Like
Yeah, like
sexual,
SM.
Okay.
Like
I thought
sadism
that you were
and
talking
No. There are women and men, for that matter, who are in, and not just with the other gender. You know, you can be in a homosexual abusive relationship where you are terrified into accepting your brutalization.
Well, that happens with prostitution. That's what I was saying. I was watching some documentary on Netflix about prostitution. They all were technically consent because at first they thought this guy that was their
Pimp.
whatever was like their boyfriend. They thought they were in love, and then immediately once they're in love, it's like they're like, no, actually, you're gonna do this, and they couldn't get out.
That seems to me
Well,
a
imagine if it
combination
was
of
legal.
entrapment and seduction. But how many of you have ever seen Les Miserables? Isn't the relationship that Fantine goes into, it's self-conscious, and yet it's because she has no choice. I mean, that's the way that the drama sets it up. But she does it self-consciously, doesn't she? Now, all I mean to say is, if you consent to prostitution, it's consensual, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the other understanding of virtue is and this is, you'll see, I'm not saying this is Wollstone's crass understanding of virtue, but you'll see that it's the first cousin to it. If virtue is Machiavellian, and I'm not judging at this point, which is true, and I'm not making a judgment about that, then the clever and artful marshalling of resources so as to further one's worldly interest, including the resource of one's body. You understand, if you're good at tricking people out of money,
Mm-hmm.
Machiavelli says that's nothing immoral as long as you're benefiting from it. If you sell your body for money, that's just using your body like one of your potential resources.
Right.
Then is what? It's clever and artful. It all depends on what one wants to praise in this life, and what one praises, what indicates what one values, and what one values reveals for what one lives for. So let's spend 5 more minutes on this, and then if you have the notes from Thursday, if you don't, I made 5 extra copies for it. What do you think of this tape?
I just feel like
I think it's,
Go ahead, Sophie.
just thought what we just saw.
Yeah.
That one part that it kind of just bothered me out. That was like, I feel like I'm not doing my life. It's like I thought he was paying for her.
For
I think
school,
I
right? I thought she was paying. Yeah, school. So it's like.
She didn't say she wasn't doing anything with her life. She said she wasn't doing anything real to obtain the money.
Yeah. Well, I just hate also how she's like, it's like that's why she did. She wanted to help with school, but then it's like she got boobs and she wanted. I just think it's just taking advantage. I think it's kind of sad that you're like putting all that money towards that. There's still so much you could do with money, and I feel like she's just.
So what is your moral category for that? Are you talking about the white girl or the black girl?
I guess the word.
Because she was the one that was crying at the end.
Yeah. They were.
What would be your
Yeah, the white
category
girl.
of human being to put her in?
I don't know, because at first I was like, I understand like the whole money thing and stuff, but then I'm like, she's totally just it's like such a.
How many of you feel sorry for her at that moment?
Well, she could get out of it. I mean, she chose to do it.
Yeah.
She couldn't get out of it.
Like, I mean, I understand, but like we're all doing the same thing except for without. We're all
Right,
putting
right.
money on ourselves. She's capable. I didn't mean without. Like we're all struggling the same thing, and we don't have the sugar daddy here.
Well, I mean, we have parents too. Maybe she doesn't have parents.
I am a prostitute to the United States government at the moment, so.
By the way, did you know, have you seen the story from Venezuela last week? 4 DEA agents, Department of, what's the DA? It's Drug Enforcement
Drug
Agency.
Enforcement Administration.
Were caught because the landlord that they lived in the capital of Venezuela complained to the U.S. Embassy that our own DEA agents were receiving drugs, bribes, and whores.
I mean, but anyway.
Go ahead,
I was gonna say
Jenna.
that I think that the black girl had a lot better handle on what she was doing.
Yeah.
She was actually playing the game and wasn't.
Well, she had 3 or 4 of them.
But
Yeah,
she
and she didn't have to have sex with
She
them.
wasn't having sex with them. The white
Yeah.
girl.
But
Yeah.
she could still get out of it, though.
No, because the one guy that she was with said, at this moment.
Yeah.
Well, and he said he doesn't believe in premarital sex, which means he might think it's an actual like relationship.
And she just.
But
She's emotionally detached from it, which is the.
Well,
You have
she's,
to
how
have
you
a
play this
professional
shit.
attitude about it if you're going to do that.
but the white girl clearly is not emotionally attached from it. Don't you see her?
She's very
She's
emotionally.
playing the game and she realizes what she's doing and she is working it. The white girl is like,
She's stuck in
I
it.
want money, and then she like finds this other guy that she spends all
Can
her
I use
time
an
with,
old-fashioned word for what
and
I
now
think
she's
she
like,
feels?
oh,
What does she
God,
feel?
What am I doing?
Shame.
I'm not playing a game anymore. Like,
I think she feels shame.
But she doesn't want to.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
No, I don't think she feels shame. I
Isn't
just.
it- yeah.
I think she does deep down. She's embarrassed.
I know the main thing is looking at that and trying to compare it with the question of is prostitution wrong and trying to bring because I used to argue this constantly was that prostitution was immoral and that criminalist crimes were still crimes and blah blah blah. And
Well, one step. You know that everything that immoral is not necessarily illegal, right?
yeah.
Right.
And everything illegal is not necessarily immoral.
Of course.
We hope that there's a convergence, largely. Yeah, yeah.
But I used to try and argue that legalizing it would just increase the amount of people doing it, but would it actually, because countries have legalized it, Germany has legalized it, and it's actually probably the most successful enough country that legalized it. And
Isn't
it's
that
been
like-
regulated, there are required testing.
Right. That would help people.
Isn't-
Health
isn't
benefits.
Isn't the legalization
And there's
and
protection.
regulating?
There are security guards. There's like buttons that they keep on the nightstand so in case something happens and someone tries to get taken advantage of. Security guard right there.
Isn't the legalization and acceptance of prostitution, and understand I sound as if I'm making a judgment, but I'm not really, isn't that the natural extension of several cultural developments in our society?
Bless you.
It's always the natural conclusion of a society.
Right.
Because look, I mean, if you can sing for money,
Why can't you sleep with someone? It's like
isn't
almost
that
the
really
same
the logical
thing.
extension?
Yeah, because you're using your body to make money. Yeah, it's your body.
Oh yeah, I mean if it was regulated, you have the increased safety because we've got plenty of other things that have been regulated that have increased safety. Like look at pharmacy. Like, I mean obviously there's a lot of complaints about big pharma, but you can say that like medicines and stuff like that have become more pure and more safe to use over the years. Obviously,
So if I understand what
considering
you're
we don't put
saying,
mercury in vaccines
you
anymore.
sort of feel sorry for her, but the real category that you're putting her in is fool.
Oh, I don't feel sorry for her. I just think that that's what she, because I know
She's a
that.
fool, isn't she?
Right. I mean, she knew what she got into.
Makes it look like what she takes okay, but I don't think there's anything wrong. If you do what you want to do, but I don't feel sorry for her.
I mean, what makes her a fool? She went out and she needed money and she found it.
Crying.
But then the other girl, it strikes me she's not a fool. She knows exactly
No,
what
the
she's
other
doing.
girl's hustling and she's
Yeah.
not, but
She just lost her purpose. She doesn't like the blonde girl just doesn't know what she wants to do, so
That's
she's just
wrong.
like
Don't
hanging
you
out.
want let's be clear, because you're going to see that both with Wollstonecraft, with de Beauvoir, and with Friedan, career means two things. It means independence. It means
Right.
economic independence. And as you're going to see, the idea that a woman can't be a full human being unless she's economically independent, that is in Wollstonecraft already from the very beginning. Because we're going to see, and this is what this discussion about virtue that I want to introduce. I'm not saying that, look, Wollstonecraft, if Wollstonecraft saw this video, she'd throw up. Now, you could say it's because she's old-fashioned, she lived 2 centuries ago, and her morals haven't evolved to ours. But as you'll see, she does think there are natural differences between men and women, and she thinks the main purpose of womanhood is motherhood. That's Wollstonecraft.
So we couldn't even use contraceptives.
You know, I don't even think she imagined that at that time.
Okay.
The technological development of contraceptives, as I've already suggested several times, was the first great intersection of modern technology and the question of gender and gender identity.
remember back in the day, like,